3. And we're back at the Open Rights Group for a new interview, this time with Lynch from the Learning Machine. What is it about? I think it's about open rights schools, open source schools, sorry. So can you introduce yourself and tell us what is it about?
My name's Lynch. I'm the Chief Assessor at the Learning Machine, which is an Ofqual accredited awarding organisation. We specialise in qualifications that are friendly towards open source. And we run the whole company using open source software as well. So we use Drupal, which is a content management system, for tracking student progress, for delivering certificates, authenticating certificates. And the students can self-assess, provide their own evidence on the system, and pass it to their teachers and assessors who can make comments on it and pass it back. So we can do the whole coursework thing without anything touching paper at all.
So we are very interested in this open source versus corporate tools competition. For example, this machine runs on Windows with Wirecast, but all the rest is open source. But it's always a fight to find the tools who are open and free. Are we taking free software or open source? Because we have difference. If we're going a bit technical here, it's two movements. So what kind of tools are you pushing? Free software, open source?
Well, free and open source, I think, is the diplomatic thing to say. Our own infrastructure is pretty well all Linux, GNU Linux. Ubuntu we use. We use LAMP servers, but they're actually contracted out to a service provider. We only have one Windows machine, and that's really to test web browsers, because everything we do is cloud-based, and we have to make sure it will work in Internet Explorer, because a lot of schools still have Internet Explorer, even back to 6, unfortunately.
They have Internet Explorer 6?
Some of them do,
6?
Yeah, still on 6, even though Microsoft doesn't actually support it anymore. So that is a big headache for us, because all our things have to work on Chrome, Firefox, and all the versions of Internet Explorer, up to 9 now. So that's probably the trickiest bit for us about operating with open source and free software ourselves.
So let's find an example of this thing can run. So what does the school have to do to get into that system of open source? Do they have to contact you? Is there funding for that?
Yes, well, mainly because we're delivering a service of quality assurance through exams and coursework. So they will get in touch with us because they want their students to get the National Vocational IT qualification, which we deliver. So it's not primarily about open source in that sense, but it means we're not always preaching to the converted. We're preaching to people who had no thoughts about free software, open source software, and really that's the best market to get to. We need to get to people who are the most dyed-in-the-wool proprietary software users and show them you don't need to do that anymore.
So what's the reaction from the teachers and students from this new approach of internet? Because already quite young, just after they start working, they know they connect on internet. So they're already familiar with the classic tools. So it's already maybe for some of them a change of their experience.
Well, as with all management of change, the most difficult bit is getting them to get started. Once they start, we haven't had a single one who hasn't said this is far better than what we've done before. Partly because it saves them a lot of administration. There is no paperwork involved. But if you're used to and embedded in using paperwork, just the same as if you're embedded in proprietary software or proprietary content, when somebody comes along and shows you how to do something different and you have to go through a learning curve, there is a barrier that you've got to get over in the first place. And part of the reason for setting the company up was to get free software and free content into schools using a focus which most teachers would need to do and would identify with. And qualifications are needed for school league tables and point scores and everything else. So whereas they would see free software movement as a sort of fringe activity in the whole scheme of things, this is mainstream to them. So it is the best vehicle to get free software and free content known about in schools.
So is there a website for people to get in touch, involved with this system?
To find our website, the easiest way is to type the word INGOT, that's I-N-G-O-T, into Google. It'll be second after a Wikipedia entry usually. INGOT's an acronym. It means International Grades Open Technologies, and really that sums up what we're about.
Sounds fantastic. Thank you very much. So INGOT, you got it. That's where you need to go online to check that. We have lots of shows coming on visionOntv at ORGcon, so stay here on this feed, and we'll be back soon for another show. Thank you for watching.